Hi, my name's Nicole, and I'm a fake fan.
Hi, Nicole. Hi, I'm Calvin, and I've been watching movies for the last 6 weeks. I've been doing really good.
Hi, Calvin.
Hi, my name's Triston. I'm a fake fan. The only movies I've ever seen are the classic Disney Channel original movies Halloween Town, Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge, Halloween Town High, and then the fourth one.
Hi, Triston. This week we watched Ghostbusters, 1984, and let's go around and see who is the fake fan this week. Nicole, have you seen Ghostbusters before?
No, I'm definitely a fake fan because I probably made a reference to this movie, but I have not seen it at all.
I'm definitely a fake fan. I've lied about seeing this movie on many occasions. If anyone that I've lied to is seeing this episode, I sincerely apologize. I understand my previous behavior as a fake fan may have hurt the people I care about most, and I'm ashamed, but I'm better now.
I'm also a fake fan. Mix of what you guys just said. I've known the references, like the giant marshmallow. I knew the when somebody asks if you're a god line. And I've seen pieces of the movie to the point where somebody's like, oh, have you seen Ghostbusters? I'm like, oh, yeah, I've seen some of it. Yeah, I've seen some of it. But I realized today, not enough. I haven't seen enough of the movie. So, yeah, I watched 20 minutes in a screen writing class once, and that was it.
Yeah, this is one of those movies that it's so embedded in popular culture that you know it. It's kind of like E.T., like you know the movie, and yet you haven't seen it. You don't fully appreciate everything put together. I mean, it's a fun movie, you know? I'm pumping my fist to that song, that title track, and, you know, like, it's weird. Like, I'm looking back at high school. I remember Halloween in high school. You know, my Spanish teacher, Mr. Senor... Well, okay, my Spanish teacher, you know, would play like Thriller, and like we'd all be getting a Halloween, and then, you know, they'd play the Ghostbusters song, and like, you know, we all enjoy the Ghostbusters song. But man, if only I had watched that movie back then, it would just mean so much more. Just that you appreciate it so much more. I love it now. Like I'm gonna have to watch this every Halloween season now. Nicole, what'd you think about it?
I thought it was really funny, and kind of what Tristan said, like, you know a lot of those scenes, so you can, like, make your fake-ass references. But there's so much...
Hurt people.
Oh my god, hurt people with
love.
our fake references. That's the lesson for... But also, like, there's so much more to it, I think, too. Like, the actual story, and, like, how everyone, like, joins the Ghostbusters, or, like, that's totally worth it, too, in the end. And, like, the relationships in it, and, like, how stuff leads up to the funny, super iconic jokes, like how the Marshmallow Man even, like, pops up. You're like, wait, that's how we get here? But it's good. That's why I like it, because I love finding out why those references are there, and, like, then they become so iconic.
Yeah, it's like I have a richer understanding of the movie. It's like a popular culture thing that everyone references and that we all kind of know, but now that you understand it, you just have a deeper appreciation of it. And also for me, it's like a weight off my back in the sense that I don't feel like I'm missing something from the movie, you know? It's like, you could make a reference to the movie and then I'll be able to get that one, but then you make another reference and like, I didn't get that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just feels like a weight off my shoulders. I'm fully in the Halloween spirit now. This was fun. Tristan, what do you think?
I love this. This was incredible. I was thinking about this when we shut it off. Like, there's a lot of 80s movies that I love. Like, you guys know me, I'm a big Star Wars fan. I'm a huge E.T. fan. But when I sat down and watched this, like, I was thinking of there's an episode of Everybody Hates Chris where they skip school to go see Ghostbusters. There's those 2 episodes of Stranger Things. And I thought to myself, if I could ever see like a classic 80s movie in theaters at time of release, this one probably would have been the one. I would probably choose this over Star Wars. I would probably choose this over E.T. Like, yeah, no, it was just so fun. And I can't imagine the audience experience with how fun this would have been seeing this for the first time.
I remember watching It 2 with you, and just like the audience, like that's an actual scary, you know, spooky movie, even though it's got Bill Hader in it. But like the audience reaction to that was just fun. And even though the theater was not filled like it would be in 1980, it was still fun. I can only imagine the fist pumping to that music, just the energy in the room, just the hilarious quips from Bill Murray. That would have been so great.
Also, all of our reactions, like when the building explodes at the end, or like when the marshmallow guy showed up. Like, Nicole, you said that, like, again, we knew the marshmallow guy existed, but the fact that it was just, oh, he just popped into my head. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard. I thought that was so funny when the marshmallow bitch just, like, creamed everyone in New York City. I was like, oh my gosh.
It was that shot where the fire blast like is blowing off the Stay Puft dude's head, and it's like it looked like those anime like explosions where, like, you know, you can see the shadow of the guy's head while the explosion's going around him, and you can see through his eyeballs. The funniest thing.
It looked like at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark when the Nazi heads explode, but it says
my
marshmallow
God.
guy.
I also really enjoyed its representation of New York, because you got like the Hasidic Jews standing next to them. And then as the camera's literally moving over, you have these nuns, you know, with their rosary beads, and then right next to them are like normal folk, and then after that is like a bunch of punk rock, like 1980s late.
That's everyone.
Just punk rockers. And it was like, but then you also had like that shot of that dude at the very end. He's like standing on one of those concrete platforms, just like he's one of those weird, you know, New York dudes who's just like probably homeless or just like not mentally there, but he's just standing there. You had the guys trying to hawk the Ghostbusters t-shirt out there. I mean, I felt like this was just such a fun, classic New York moment right there.
Have you been to New York before, Kelvin?
Oh my God.
This is really interesting stuff. I didn't know you went to New York.
What a solid film. You're probably the one who could talk more about the 80s films in general. How does this compare?
It's very different to me. Like, it does definitely feel 80s, but it feels different from like a Spielberg 80s film, because I don't think Spielberg had anything to do with this. I read very little bit before we watched this. I know Industrial Light and Magic didn't do the effects for this, which is very surprising for the 80s, because I feel like ILM did a bunch of stuff. ILM still does a bunch of stuff. Like, the 80s that I'm used to are either like dramas or they're just like straight up sci-fi, whereas this I feel like was a comedy first, and then like the sci-fi paranormal stuff second, and I loved it. I thought that was great.
I just think having that titular song, Ghostbusters, with Ray Parker Jr., it sells you that it's not like a film first in that sense. It's like, it's not some, like E.T. doesn't have a titular track. Like, wow, we've got like Prince to produce our, you know, E.T. track.
I disagree with you. John Williams worked really hard on the E.T. soundtrack, Calvin.
But this is like total popcorn, pop culture fun. And it tells you that right up front. You've got some of the funniest comedy men of the era. You've got Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray together in this movie. I mean, you've just got total fun in this film, you know? Rick Moranis. Man, Rick Moranis. I want to say to Rick Moranis particularly, I hope you're feeling better from getting punched by that man in New York.
Oh my God.
Public enemy number one.
Yeah, whoever
Is
that
the
man
man
is.
who punched Rick Moranis.
Public enemy number one, whoever that man is.
I think like we were on the verge of World War III that day or something, but Rick Moranis, everybody was talking about that instead. Like, everything else just shut down. It's like, is Rick Moranis okay? I need Rick Moranis to be okay.
I have a question. What was the first movie that he was in? I like super know him as the dad from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like, that's like the main thing I know him from.
It looks like he started on Second City, and then did a movie called Strange Brew, did the Ghostbusters, Little Shop of Horrors, Spaceballs. He was in the Flintstones movie. But I think the Ghostbusters, Little Shop of Horrors, and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and Spaceballs.
Wait, when was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? In between, like,
Honey,
what
I Shrunk the
movies?
Kids was 89. It's just a couple years later. He retired from acting to hang out with his family more, which is very respectable, but I miss him. I'll miss him.
And then someone punched him on the street.
What a dick. What an absolute terrorist to our community. What a scumbag. He's gonna burn in hell for hitting Rick Moranis, the most pure actor I think that's ever walked the face of the earth.
Do you think the assailant knew it was Rick Moranis? Because Rick Moranis looks kind of different now compared to like his movie style.
That's true.
Like, do you think they knew, or was it just some like tweaker just like having a moment?
He better not have known, because that makes it even worse. Who the fuck is like, oh, I'm gonna go punch Rick Moranis?
To see him, Rick Moranis.
Yeah, I'd rather it be indiscriminate crime rather than a target on Rick Moranis.
Like, I've been stuck in Rick Moranis for 2 weeks. I know his patterns. And then what do you do? Just one like
just
uppercut.
one wallop. Oh man, you know that's scary because now I hope Rick Moranis doesn't have to like look over his shoulders every time. I hope he's not like looking. He's worried.
You know he has a little bit of PTSD. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
This ruined my day. I hope he can recover from this, like genuinely. Oh my goodness.
That's our conversation about Rick Moranis. Going back to Ghostbusters, Tristan, what other films came out around this time?
There's only one 80s movie I can compare the Ghostbusters to, and I think it's Back to the Future. Because they both have, like, you hear that Huey Lewis song and you know it's Back to the Future. They both have that comedy first, sci-fi second feeling. They're both, I don't know, they're both classics and they feel distinct from, like, a Star Wars film or an Indiana Jones film where they're, like, their own thing.
They definitely have the same vibes. I could totally feel that when after you said that. Like, the first Back to the Future and then this one.
It's part of like why I would always sit down and watch Back to the Future or I guess now Ghostbusters if you offered. If I walk to your house and you've got it on your TV, I'm sitting down and watch it with you, you know? Oh, yeah, that's the kind of movie this is. Yep. What a fantastic era. What a fantastic era of movies. I feel like half of our list at Fake Fans here is like 80s movies just because they pumped out so much gold. It's incredible.
Why do you think that Hollywood is currently so like nostalgic for the 80s? Because it was the best pop culture wise. You got Michael Jackson doing Thriller, like Halloween in the 80s. Can you imagine that? You got Ghostbusters, you got Michael Jackson, you got, I don't know, other things.
You've got Ronald Reagan.
Oh, scary.
Is he spooky?
Spooky skeletons.
Spooky or family and wholesome? You decided this November, America.
Oh my god, cut that out. We're not bringing that into this.
What other things in this film can we talk about?
I like the outfits.
The outfits were fun.
Whoever came up with that should be a millionaire, because, I mean, that's like a classic Halloween costume for people now.
I will say, out of all the Bill Murray movies that I've seen, which isn't a ton, but I think this was my favorite Bill Murray performance that I think I've ever seen.
I like the monsters. Those are really actually kind of cool. Like, the special effects were like kind of funny, but it still freaked me out. Like the beginning where they're gonna go see the librarian lady. Like, you know, it's like, you know it sounds fake and it looks fake and it's kind of funny, but it does make you feel really freaked out at first.
It's campy, but unlike Poltergeist, where you have these like beings and creatures that are like flashed at you and like are incomprehensible, like the MGM lion monster in the doorway, like you can't comprehend it, and with the framing of the film, it's like this horrible beast. But when you have like the library monster in this film, you know, like it shocks you. But the joke is that they're running away because they're afraid and they don't have any experience with that, and it's not like an existential threat on that one. You know, it's just like a funny. It's campy. It was like fun. It's like you go to a movie and everyone in the audience like has that like whoa, and then everyone laughs at themselves because you all shared in this experience of getting shocked. You know, whereas like with Poltergeist, you get shocked and like, oh shit, this is still going on though. Like, yeah, the MGM lion monster's still gonna get them.
And they had the MGM lion sound again. It had to have been that in the Rick Moranis' party. Yeah,
it's like the Wilhelm scream, you know, same thing.
MGM lion, just slap that in there. It's free.
It's scary. It's spooky. It could be whatever you want it to be. The visual effects were. It's not like perfect in the sense like it's not like it doesn't look real, but it's perfect for the film. It's perfect to make it fun and enjoyable, and you're not, oh, this is so realistic and I'm scared now. It's like, oh yeah, these rocks falling on people are made out of styrofoam. It's okay. Like no one's head has been exploded on the street. You know, it's just a fun. Oh. It's just a fun. The building's collapsing. Things are cataclysmic, but it's not like you're actually scared because it's not supposed to be real.
Yeah, because I was when we watched Poltergeist a couple weeks ago, I was super into the effects in that one. And I would say the effects in this, to me, don't stand out as much. They were going to get Industrial Light and Magic to do this movie, but they were booked doing Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which also came out in 1984. Damn. Yeah, it's a good year. So one of the guys from ILM left the company to start his own company, and I think this was his company's first movie. Because you have ILM to compare to, which have been doing this since 1977, and industry standard. Yeah, they're like masters at this point, versus a guy who's he has the experience, but this is his company's first movie. That being said, I don't think the effects were awful. I've seen very bad effects, and I don't think it was just not as good as the movies that you can compare it to.
Now that you say it's like it was someone's first go at having their own effects company, it does, like, I could see how they were playing it safe. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, it's not good or bad, but it's just like they're probably playing it safe and not doing anything super crazy.
I don't know if playing safe is the right thing. Like, they still had it was still pretty risky, you know, with the Stay Puft Dude. I think it was just like simply the lighting choices. Like in Poltergeist, it's dark and like the spots of light that you see are like harsh lights. You're seeing figures in the shadow kind of thing. And that's when the door monsters like adds to that effect. Whereas in this is like you have this brightly lit hotel hallway that the dog monsters are running through, and in that sense, like just because the lighting is just brighter and you can see everything and flatter, it's not as scary. And that's kind of like what I'm saying. Like the effects weren't amazing and not trying to scare you because that's not the point. And I think it was perfect for this film, as we were saying, like Back to the Future and this film. It's comedy first and sci-fi second, and it's not horror even. It's just, you know, exciting stuff, you know?
Exactly. It's a tonal thing. Yeah. And like, I still think it's impressive, especially because if this is this guy's first movie, like I can't do that shit. Well, are you kidding me? But yeah, it's good. It's a good like 80s comedy movie special effects versus like a 80s horror movie special effects thing.
This adds to the Halloween palette, you know? I'm really glad to have seen this because it fills the space, it fills the cracks of the kind of Halloween genre of movies and pop culture that you couldn't experience. You know, you can go have your spooky time, you could go have your just simply fall-oriented fun time. You know, it's like going to the orchard versus going to the haunt and going to, you know, the creepy maze, and you know, you get to have all kinds of fun. You get to do zombie paintball, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. So, yeah, I was really happy to have seen this movie. I'm no longer a fake fan of Ghostbusters, the 1984 classic.
I agree with you guys. I loved this movie. Like I said about how I would give up seeing Star Wars on opening day to see. Well, if I saw the original Star Wars, that doesn't count. But this is like an 80s movie that I would see on opening day. Hell yeah, I would. This is like top of the list for 80s movies to see like that. But it was so good and funny. It was just a fun experience. Like, I didn't have to think too hard about it. There was no, besides the fact that I knew Rick Moranis has been in pain in the past few weeks, nothing made me sad. It was just so fun. Everything about it was just so fun.
And to all our fellow fake fans out there, like I said in the beginning, it's a weight lifted off my shoulders to say I'm not a fake fan of this. I could reference any scene in this movie you throw at me. It doesn't matter. I could talk about any part. And now I'm not lying anymore.
And if somebody asks you if you are a god, you say yes.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for joining our spooktacular Fake Fans Anonymous meetings. Ooh.
Cookies in the back, baby.
Cookies in the back.